WrestleManiacs, Maniacs. This is the podcast, it's called WrestleManiacs. Adam, Donna, Indy, and Josh. They're not together forever in the sun. WrestleManiacs, WrestleManiacs. This is the podcast, it's called WrestleManiacs. WWE, AEW, TNA, JPW. WrestleManiacs, WrestleManiacs.
Hey, WrestleManiacs. It again is Josh here with a Smackdown review tonight on May the 3rd, 2024. We actually had Smackdown live from Lyon, France, the site of Backlash tomorrow. So, again, welcome back, WrestleManiacs. Sorry I'm about an hour late recording. Typically, I try to do it about 30 minutes after the show, but beyond that, again, tonight's a little special night, so let's get started with the review of SmackDown Live, again, from Lyon, France. We actually open the show up seeing Cody Rhodes appear. We see a bunch of the other superstars arriving in Lyon, France. RKO, the new tag team RKO. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, of course. I really like the play on that name. And we actually get a pretty great match to start the show. We actually had Bayley, Naomi, Jade Cargill, as well as Bianca Belair facing off against Tiffany Stratton and Damage Control of Asuka, Kairi Sane, as well as Dakota Kai. And, you know, I've got to say, for a women's opener of this show, this was actually a really good match. I was very surprised that we had such a banger of a match. Again, always helps to have a wild crowd, especially in Lyon, France. They were chanting all night long, a whole bunch of energy, 11,000 something people in the arena. So great to see that sort of energy, and it comes across television well. But these ladies worked hard tonight. They brawled. They had a lot of near falls, some pretty cool spots throughout the match. And believe it or not, Bayley, Naomi, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair pick up the win. But it's actually Bianca Belair this time hitting the KOD and getting the pinfall. So it's not Jade Cargill. I've been really critical of Jade Cargill not really having much of any type of offense put against her. But this time we actually had her get a top rope drop kick kicked against her from Asuka. So we actually had Bianca Belair actually win this match for their team. So great match. Again, I really enjoyed this match tonight. I've got to say that, was it, the best women's match ever? No. But definitely for a SmackDown Live from France, again, the crowd helped. But I will say that definitely was something that was not your typical 8-women's tag match. This was a really good competitive match. So definitely recommend it again. What we had next was a backstage promo with A-Town Down Under, our WWE Tag Team Champions, pretty much just making fun of the crowd, saying, what's that smell? Is it the cheese? No. Is it the people? No, it's actually the smoke. And Street Profits, if you want the smoke, we'll bring the smoke to you, but you're not going to win this match tonight. You're not going to take our titles. We're going to be champions for a while. So I like this little promo. I like that they're matching attire. I like that, A-Town Down Under, they're just good boys, just basically causing a bunch of mayhem and trouble. So made you look forward to the match again. Pretty good tonight. Then we had a backstage interview with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill after their victory. And believe it or not, Bayley, throughout the match, had some trepidation tagging in Bianca Belair because of their feud a couple of months ago. And pretty much, she was just frustrated having them in the room, basically saying, when we take care of Damage Control, basically she's going to get next. So pretty interesting how that came about. So I like that there's continuity there for sure. Then we have a backstage a segment, with Carmelo Hayes talking to Nick Aldis, the general manager, saying, look, thanks for having me on SmackDown. I'm going to declare myself for the King of the Ring tournament. And in comes our boy Bobby Lashley from the Pride, basically saying, what's up, Mello? If you need something, you let me know. Give me a holler. Basically trying to, I dare say, recruit him to the faction. And Mello said, look, did you see my match with Cody Rhodes last week? I don't need anybody. I'm good, brother. I'm good. And Bobby Lashley said, look, understand, I get it, but let me give you some free advice. 1, you lost. And 2, just be careful who you disrespect. And so to me, am I intrigued to see Carmelo Hayes against Bobby Lashley? Yes and no. Not going to be the most banger of a match. But again, look, Carmelo Hayes, his stature, unfortunately, he's short in comparison to everybody. So that's going to be a little bit detriment to him. But hey, you know what? We've seen Rey Mysterio, and look, he's a Hall of Famer now. So, would it be interesting? Yeah, I'd watch the match. So definitely nothing wrong with that. What we had next is actually a revenge match, I should say, for the authors of Pain with the New Testament, with the Final Testament crew out there against the New Catch Republic. This match was pretty good. Again, I would say it's not as believable, again, because AOP are so much bigger than New Catch Republic. But you know what? Realistically, it was a pretty decent match. Again, you had some hope spots. But you know, I tell you what, Authors of Pain pulled out the win here. Again, they should have. I would not expect anything less, especially if you're going to build them to go to Raw. And this feud more than likely is going to continue because New Catch Republic is also going over to Monday Night Raw as well. So definitely looking forward to this feud. Not a bad match by any stretch. A little bit of a mismatch size-wise, but hey, you got to have underdogs, right? And you got to have them beat the big guys. So, again, like I said, serviceable match. What we get next, actually, is Paul Heyman talking to Nick Aldis, basically just begging him, saying, look, call off this match with the Bloodline. Save RKO's career. Save Randy Orton and Kevin Owens' career. Save it for your show. Save it for the audience. Don't put them in this match because he's no longer responsible for whatever happens. What Solo and Tama Tonga do, that's on them, not on Paul Heyman. It's on Nick Aldis. And Aldis basically says, look, aren't you the boss? Don't you talk for Roman Reigns, speak for Roman Reigns? And Paul Heyman reveals a secret that he has not spoken to Roman since WrestleMania. This gets Nick Aldis real upset, saying, wait a minute, you haven't talked to him since WrestleMania? So what was all that about him pulling out of the draft? Paul Heyman reveals he is the one who pulled Roman Reigns from the draft because he did not want Roman Reigns to deal with all this craziness of the bloodline, which to me is saying something, the fact that, one, they hadn't talked, at least in theory in the storyline, right? And secondarily, that he made a decision for Roman Reigns to protect him from Solo Sikoa. So it begs to wonder, again, that this big reveal that Roman has not talked to Paul Heyman, that's a pretty big deal. So, again, he also begs them again to say, look, you know, call off the match. I don't want to be responsible for them getting hurt. And basically, Nick Aldis says, look, go talk to them. Go talk to Orton and Kevin Owens. If they'll back out of the match, sure. Which leads us into the debut of the RKO show, which, again, I'm really loving the way they're playing off one another with the letters and things like that. So it works really well together. And the team, I think, is going to be a fun, dynamic team. I had talked about how young in his career, Orton was considered kind of a hothead, at least, especially in the, annals of wrestling history. And now he's kind of chilled out, whereas Kevin Owens is still kind of the hothead and loses his temper a lot faster. So I really like that there's a change here in Orton's character as well as KO. And I think it's going to be a great team for them. So in the RKO show, they basically talk about the bloodline, and Paul Heyman comes out and basically, begs them, look, for your careers, for Smackdown, for the fans, please just consider canceling, because again, I'm not responsible for what's going to happen to you. Basically talking about how the bloodline's more dangerous than ever. And Randy Orton says, who's the real tribal chief? And as Paul Heyman goes to answer, the real tribal chief, and then gets cut off when Solo and Tama Tonga come from behind and attack Randy Orton and also Kevin Owens. They have a little bit of a brawl. Again, they're just your typical fisticuffs brawl, right? They get pulled apart by security again, and so we go from there, and that's it. Again, great segment with them too. Again, I like that they're feuding. I like that it seems like they're really hurting each other. Really seems like they're building up this match to be a really good brawl. And again, as we know, RKO is usually a pretty good team. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, I would say, one of the best brawlers, especially KO. So maybe look forward to this match. I'm really liking that Paul Heyman's just kind of telling him, I'm no longer in control. Just please save yourselves. Now, again, as I said on our Backlash preview last night, check that out as well if you want on the channel a day ago. I think that Tama Tonga, they've established that he's crazy, that he's definitely unpredictable. Solo, not so much. I still think he needs a little bit more viciousness to him. Again, him hitting the Samoan spike on John Cena so many times back at Crown Jewel, again, was a great way to start that, but they kind of cooled him off, at least in my opinion. So I definitely hope that they go and actually change and make him a dangerous character. So again, that's just me. So what we get next is actually a promo from the Street Profits, basically hyping up tonight that, yes, they're going to go win those tag team titles from A-Town Down Under. They're going to whoop up on them in France. And here's your typical Street Profits promo hyping up the match tonight. Say what you will about the Street Profits. Again, they've kind of been hurt with not having as many wins, but I will say that they still are very good hype men. I still remember the days when they were on Raw just hyping up other people's matches backstage. So definitely still a good promo from them too. What we get next is actually I dare say a random match, but LA Knight versus Angel with Legado del Fantasma outside. And LA Knight, of course, gets I'm going to say the quick win. Pretty decisive against Angel. Goes and basically says that he is going to declare himself for the King of the Ring. And Santos Escobar also goes over and says he's going to declare himself for the King of the Ring as well. So again, we have two new entrants as well as Carmelo Hayes, from my understanding. The bracket's supposed to come out pretty soon, hopefully, for the King of the Ring. So it's starting to get real busy. We got Gunther in the King of the Ring. I mean, I'm very curious to see what we're going to get. My guesstimation, at least that I posted on X, is I'm thinking it's going to be Gunther versus LA Knight. But again, that's just my opinion. I think it'd be a really good matchup. I still think Gunther's going to be the King of the Ring. We've got Bash in Berlin coming up. It makes sense, people. Cody versus Gunther. I would love to see that match. And hopefully Gunther pulls off the win there, because I want the story to end. I'm over it now. And Ram Jam, yeah, I wonder if Fatu debuts at Backlash. Yeah, I wonder if Jacob Fatu debuts. My prediction, at least last night, was that he does debut and actually causes RKO to win via disqualification, because I look at it this way in gang warfare, right? Yes, wins are important. They're always important. But realistically, Solo's sole plan is to actually take out RKO. So to me, is he going to sacrifice a win when he can instead just basically have all three of them beat them down to a pulp, essentially? So to me, yeah, I think it'd be a perfect place for Jacob Fatu to debut. Again, I still think it would make total sense if he just shows up in the middle of the match as Team RKO is going to, basically win and basically attack him. And who cares? Yeah, I mean, RKO wins, but the damage is done at this point. So yeah, wins and losses matter, but realistically, Solo is wanting to take these two out. So why not sacrifice the match and just have him come out and just beat him? Who cares at this point? So again, I would agree with you, Ram Jam. I think the same way Jacob Fatu should debut at Backlash. I hope so as well. And so again, going back to what we were talking about, we actually have a recap from last week or a couple weeks ago when Legado del Fantasma reveals that it was Carlito that attacked Dragon Lee. Well, Carlito talks about, look, I wanted to have another WrestleMania match, WrestleMania moment. I've been gone for me for a while. And as he's talking, Dragon Lee actually goes out of frame and starts attacking him. So we get Dragon Lee kind of getting his comeback and a comeuppance for Carlito a little bit. So I'm sure we'll probably get a match. Again, I'm not sure when. To me, makes sense for it to be Backlash, but it's already too late. So interesting 5 matches, unless they just announce them on the show the day of. It's definitely going to be an interesting PLE for sure. So what we have coming up next on top of that is the WWE Tag Team title match, A-Town Down Under versus the Street Profits. Really, not much to say here. Really, the A-Town Down Under one, I wasn't expecting anything different. Again, they're new champions. I would have been shocked had the Street Profits pulled this off. Again, I like the Street Profits, don't get me wrong, but you got to do something with them. Look, I mean, Bobby's been kind of quiet. You don't really see much of him anymore in terms of wrestling. I mean, you see him again with the Final Testament feud, which everybody, I think, critically panned, it seemed like. So, again, A-Town Down Under retains the titles. Where the Street Profits go from here, I don't know. They've failed every single time. They've got the big one coming. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see. I hope the Pride doesn't break up. I just really want to see something different with them. They deserve a lot more for sure. And what we get next is actually the showdown. Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles in their face-off, essentially. And what I really liked about this, the showdown, I should say, it came a little bit more personal. It definitely, they basically talked about that Styles is saying that basically Cody's overlooking him, essentially, because he's all determined about, everything going on around him. Cody loves the spotlight, basically saying he's using his dad's name, really, as kind of a way to put the spotlight on him, and that the pressure is going to be too much. Essentially, that's what happened when he first debuted in WWE, and then he left. And Styles came here, and people didn't want him, so he basically had to prove himself over and over again, which to me I think is true. I mean, there's the famous story of the Royal Rumble that Vince wasn't so sure to have him debut at the Royal Rumble because he was afraid he'd have no reaction, and was shocked, legitimately shocked, mind you, at AJ Styles' debut in the WWE during the Royal Rumble. He thought the man was not going to have any type of hype or any type of reaction. The crowd wasn't going to have any reaction to him. Well, he got fooled there. And AJ Styles has definitely really proved himself. And he said he's ready to prove that he, again, is phenomenal. Basically, Cody talks about what he had to do through all the mistakes and that he's ready to prove what he has to do what it takes. And that is just too sweet. And as he goes to do the handshake, the old school Bullet Club handshake, actually, as you saw in the open, AJ Styles slaps the bejesus out of Cody Rhodes, which I was so glad for because I wanted to see some heat. I wanted to see them actually at least have some tension between the two. Because again, just talking at that contract signing, there wasn't nothing to it. I didn't like it. So this one at least made sense, but this still felt like week one of buildup. So again, I'm hoping for a return. I'm hoping that, again, my prediction yesterday, and again, please make sure to go watch that and let us know your predictions as well. Actually, Ramjam, let me jump in here with your comment. I wonder if we get a super OC group one day with Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and the Good Brothers and Tama Tonga. You know what? I mean, I wouldn't be upset. Look, we got the Bullet Club and TNA, right? And they're so over. We had the Bloodline take over WWE. Why not? To me, I still think, based on the preview I talked about yesterday, I would have loved the story, and I never understood why they didn't do this. I'm going to do a little bit of fantasy booking, so just bear with me. I mean, look, we had Cody Rhodes and the story. AJ Styles didn't like the OC, basically was walking away from him. Why didn't the OC come and help Cody during the feud with the Bloodline? We would have had an established group, Cody and the OC, and then enter AJ Styles. Now, who are the OC going to side with? To me, I still think at this point, now that the OC is the Good Brothers, I should say, or drafted to SmackDown, to me, it makes total sense for the OC to come out, cost Cody the title. You got AJ Styles as champ, and there it is again, Cody chasing after the title. If you think about Dusty Rhodes, really, was he a long-term champion? No. Seemingly, as soon as he lost it, it didn't take very long for him to lose it again to Ric Flair or anyone else. So sometimes with Cody, I think the chase is better. Yes, you had the 2-year-long chase with Roman. Yes, I get the story is done. But let's add a little twist. Nobody's going to expect AJ Styles tomorrow to walk out with the WWE title. Why not swerve us all? Have the OC come out, put the handshake up to Cody, because again, they've been feuding somewhat, and really AJ Styles has been just a jerk to him. Turn around, too sweet Cody, turn toward AJ Styles, bam, fought Cody Rhodes, Styles clash 1, 2, 3. I mean, it'd be a perfect opportunity to get the OC reestablished because they've been hurt by losing in NXT and things like that. Let's do it, guys. Let's pull the trigger. Let's make AJ Styles. Let's continue chasing the story. The man who had the WrestleMania fairy tale only for it to be ripped away from his former brothers in arms from the Bullet Club. Again, I love Finn Balor in the story. I think it'd be great to have Finn Balor and Cody Rhodes together. I definitely think there's a lot of different mixture you can have. Ramjam, definitely love the idea of a super OC group one day because, look, factions are in. They're back again, right? So why not? I definitely would agree with you, Ramjam, and I hope, at least to me, that they do incorporate the Bullet Club storyline because now, look, we're having to have TNA wrestlers, Jordan Grace showing up at the Royal Rumble. At this point now, anything's open. The forbidden door, let's just call it the forbidden door, for lack of a better term, has been open. So you know what? Let's talk about history. Let's talk about the NWA. Let's talk about ROH. Let's talk about NJPW. What's it going to hurt? AEW, what's it going to hurt? It's not going to hurt WWE. They're still the man on the mountain, and they can talk about anybody they want to. So, again, sorry for the mini rant. Again, really good build-up tonight. We actually get one other thing as this segment ends. We see RKO and Bloodline still brawling. They're still brawling backstage, and we go off there with them brawling. So, in the grand scheme of things, am I excited for Backlash? In a way, yes. I think RKO and the Bloodline got a lot more build-up than Cody and AJ Styles. I think they still kind of talk about the dream match. Now, do I want to see Cody Rhodes hit 3, crossroads on AJ Styles to beat him? No. I don't want overbooked. I really want this to be Cody Rhodes' first defense and not have anything overbooked. Now, again, fantasy booking with me being the OC, you can have a little bit of interaction between them two because it all makes sense. But in the grand scheme of things, I want to see what they do. Backlash is going to be very interesting tomorrow. We only have 5 matches. I'll be curious to see if we get more matches announced after SmackDown sometime tomorrow because it's at noon Central Time, 1 Eastern, and 10 a.m. for you guys in the West Coast. So, really, guys, that's it. I've got one other comment here. Let's see. Ramjam, absolutely, 100%. Yes, sir. I do definitely agree that we do need something with the OC and the Bullet Club. Why not call it the Bullet Club? I mean, I get it's NJPW thing, but everybody knows what it is. The original club. Let's give it a new name, right? Let's do the Bloodline versus the OC. I wouldn't mind that. I mean, anything's fair in love and war and gang warfare, right? You think about 97 of, all the different factions there were back then in history. So again, I'll quit rambling. Again, we've got Backlash tomorrow. You'll definitely see me, and I believe Dotala possibly as well will be reviewing it with me. Again, not for certain, but I know for sure I'll be reviewing Backlash after, and I'm assuming Dotala will as well. So where can you follow us on social media? Let me kind of give you a little bit of information. You can follow WrestleManiacs Podcast at WrestleM Podcast below. You've also got at A Plus Opinions on Twitter, as well as Dotala _ as well on Twitter. You can follow the A Plus Hero Report on YouTube, and also Rangers of Wrestling on YouTube as well. So again, I always make sure to review Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and the PLEs. I'll also be reviewing at the end of May King of the Ring, as well as AEW Double or Nothing. That'll be a little bit of a different thing for me. That'll be fun. I enjoyed Dynasty so much, I'm like, you know what? Let me give them another chance and watch Double or Nothing. So again, for me, for Dotala, for Adam, for A Plus Hero Report WrestleManiacs Podcast, for everyone else, as well as Rangers of Wrestling, I will see all of you guys tomorrow afternoon after Backlash. So again, make sure to comment your predictions and let us know what you think. So otherwise, have a good night. Thanks so much.